And we are live. Hello, one and all. It is great to be back up here once again for another live video review like we do it on this channel. And it's been a long time since I've done a live video review. Can't tell you the last time I did one was probably Payback. It's been that long. Just been really busy. Have NHL playoff hockey to watch. But tonight we're focused on talking about what I thought was a phenomenal, a tremendous, another great NXT TakeOver. This time emanating live from one of my favorite cities in America, Chicago, Illinois. So we're going to break down everything that happened at NXT TakeOver Chicago. And with me, joining me tonight, I have a very special guest, my good friend Mike. I know him as Mike. You know him here on YouTube as the Club of the Man 1993. Mike, thanks for joining me once again.
Sure thing, Dan. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yes, it has. And let's just get right off the bat. Mike, overall, what did you think of this NXT TakeOver special? Because I thought it was phenomenal from top to bottom. There was not one bad thing on this show.
Well, first off, Dan, when you showed up at my house tonight, you said, I don't need the list because I know it's going to be a good show. I figured it's going to be a good show, but I will be honest. I was still a little bit scratching my head a little bit at it because the fact that we've only had, like, what, a month and a half in between takeovers?
Yes.
I mean, I noticed this takeover is more so to probably start most of these feuds off new or maybe just, end things possibly as well. So, I mean, I was expecting a good pay-per-view, maybe nothing like astronomical. It was probably like, not one of the, big fours. I thought it might be a little bit like
solid.
A solid, yeah, not amazing. But this pay-per-view just overseed my expectations big time.
I agree.
Yes.
And my expectations for it going in were, slightly higher than yours. I just saw this card on paper, and from the UK Championship match, which we'll talk about, from the ladder match to the triple threat to Itami and Roode, and even Eric Young, Roderick Strong, which we'll talk about shortly. Up and down, I knew this card going into it. It was one of the better cards from NXT that we've gotten in a while. And lately, since the draft, post-draft, NXT has been in a rebuilding mode. And I felt like we finally gotten to this point with the influx of new talent, new feuds, new rivalries, what have you. It is as they say, like a new era, quote unquote, on NXT. You even have a new intro, theme song, everything. It just feels like a fresh coat of paint has been applied. And tonight, the results paid off because I thought, for me, I'm going to say right now, as of up until this point, this is my pay-per-view event of the year for WWE. NXT TakeOver Chicago. I don't know about you,
definitely, yes,
but
I agree.
This is the best.
Oh, yes.
Maybe Backlash will be better, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll have to see what happens, yeah.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough, actually.
I agree.
But anything's possible. So with all of that out of the way, let's now take a look at the card results. Like I said, we only had 5 matches, but man, I love how on these shows, less is more. And the fact that we don't have, 13, 14 matches. You have 5 matches. Yeah. And these matches, you notice, they had enough time to flow and to tell the necessary stories that needed to be told. And I just thought this show flowed very nicely. I love the way that the card was set up and down. Everything was structured beautifully. So with all of that said, now let's dive into the results. Let's talk about Eric Young versus Roderick Strong. Perfect opening match. It wasn't too crazy as of what was to follow it down the line, but it was a good, solid opener that I thought, played into the, the potential trap of, oh, crap, Roderick Strong's going to have to deal with all the members of Sanity. They weren't banned from ringside. They were going to be present. So you knew he was going to have to fight his way off. So it further established, the babyface kind of underdog type role that they're trying to build up with Roderick Strong. Like we mentioned a couple weeks before, they did those great video packages on him that really got, us invested in his character. We now know who he is. And I felt like this match, further played into that. And Roddy was able to fight off literally all 3 members of Sanity. And I predicted this one. I know you didn't, Mike, and we'll get into your thoughts shortly. But Roderick Strong was able to fend off the members of Sanity. He hit the double knee backbreaker for the win. Solid opening match between him and Eric Young. Set the pace for the show. Mike, what were your thoughts on Roderick Strong versus Eric Young to open?
Yeah, I mean, this match just came up really quickly out of nowhere to me, in my opinion. We've seen some tension between Sanity and Roderick Strong, since he was helping out Ty Dillinger and when with Cassius Ohno and No Way Jose whenever he comes back as well. But it kind of like it makes sense the fact that these two did kind of have some unfinished business. Ty got his shot at Eric Young. Now it looks like Roderick Strong does also. And at first I picked Eric Young more so because I wanted to see Sanity continue to be that dominant faction being built up. I wanted to eventually see Sanity completely take over NXT. That's my dream I'd like to see. Yes. But what if they literally call that pay-per-view NXT TakeOver Sanity someday? But
sure.
But yeah, I didn't take into account. I didn't really think about the fact of the video packages of getting to know Roderick Strong really, and really just like emphasizing who this guy really is. And that's what you need to do more often, because these guys are wrestlers, but like again, who are they? That's why like video package helped them. That's why talking smack has always been something that's helped you get to know some of these guys a little bit more. It's worked for a decent amount, not everybody, but it still worked. But that played in the factor. And I think this told a story itself. If you want to build up like that underdog babyface, like you said, Roderick Strong came out right away with a plan. He came out and snuck up and tried taking out both Killian Dane, right, and Alexander Wolf. And he just played good psychology in this whole match with trying to defeat Sanity. So it was his goal to take down Sanity next, and he succeeded in defeating Eric Young.
Exactly, and that's why I had a feeling he would get the win here, due to the fact that it just further builds upon what they were doing the last couple of weeks, trying to get him over as potentially maybe a top babyface down the line. That's still a long ways away, but I like what he had to offer here. I thought it was a good showing for Roddy. I believe his second TakeOver event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, his first one was against Andrade back in San Antonio, I believe.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, Roderick Strong, literally, no pun intended, looking strong, defeating Eric Young in a solid opening match. And then, before we get into this match, and I know we're going to have a lot to say about this match because it was amazing, we had WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross join Nigel McGuinness, and they're instantly becoming, one of my favorite commentary teams, because you have Jim Ross, the greatest, in my opinion, play-by-play announcer of all time. You add him into this match, and him and Nigel, before we talk about this match, I don't know what you thought of them, Mike. I thought their commentary was spot on. Solid commentary that enhanced the match instead of usually taking away from it. Anything you want to say about JR being back? And it's great to have him back.
I mean, again, I never got to see JR live much when I first started watching, but it's seeing him now talk with the Undertaker's last match, and now, of course, with this UK match as well. I hope I want to see him stick around more. I've watched it on the network. He actually brings excitement to this match. He doesn't make it boring. He
made you care.
Yes, and he actually talks about the match and not about other stuff on the side. Like, hey, what are we doing after this tonight, guys?
Don't care.
Right, we don't.
But that's what JR would do. He was a storyteller, and he would take it very seriously, and get you to care and invest. And that's the job of an announcer. And I'm glad we have him back for this, for the UK Championship special, and for the women's tournament next month. That's just great. It's going to be great to have him announce that. Cannot wait for that. My match of the night, and I'm pretty sure your match of the night, I could say as well.
I'd say yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about the United Kingdom Championship match. Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne. If you have not seen this match and are looking for a match of the year candidate, that's right. I'm even going so far to say that. This was a match of the year candidate. Man, did these two go out there and they told a great story. The story of, Tyler Bate going in there improving himself in championship defense. You also had Pete Dunne, who had a chip on his shoulder. He had something to prove in this match. He was the bruiserweight. He didn't give a damn about this fairy tale happy ending for Tyler Bate. He won the UK Championship. Pete Dunne was going to go in there and kick his ass. And kick his ass he did. These two guys went to war.
I beat people.
Yeah, exactly. I love Pete Dunne. I love his facial reactions. He is just a badass. He's the bruiserweight. And this was a bruiserweight-worthy, match. It was just hard-hitting, physical, so many great spots. I mean, I can't even recount everything that happened in this match. I mean, from just, the psychology. It was a very technical match. Great pace. It kept building and building and building. And just when you thought this was going to be the end, they took it. They went left instead of going right. I mean, and we have a new UK champion coming out of this match. Pete Dunne in a hard-fought effort in a match of the year candidate. We were going nuts, Mike. The crowd was going nuts. He rolled Tyler Bate back into the win in the ring and hit the bitter end for the win, and he is now your new United Kingdom champion. What a match. I was speechless. Mike, what were your thoughts on this match of the year?
I mean, especially to the people who didn't watch the UK tournament, they probably didn't really. I mean, people who watch NXT have seen Tyler Bate because he's made a few appearances on NXT. Not many people really know Pete Dunne. Sure. And this was a match that showed that these two still had it from when they faced off in the UK tournament. They they both know each other so well. They threw their best shots at each other. And, it's different style of wrestling also. Like what you saw tonight was not what you would normally see in just the regular WWE or anything.
Very technical.
That's
the British style.
Right. This is the British style as well. Like a couple of those moonsaults that I remember Tyler Bate did. That one move where he bounced his head off the rope.
And charged back at Pete Dunne, took him out. Oh my God. How about him picking Pete Dunne up and spinning him around and around and around and around. And then he laid down on him to get the cover.
Right. And Tyler Bates is not that big compared to Pete Dunne. I mean, Tyler's 5'10", 175 pounds. Pete Dunne's a little over 205. I mean, that's
205. I know that for sure.
30 pounds difference, but still, he looks like a bigger man than Tyler Bate. But that was that they just really made him look like a beast there. And then there was just so many good moves there. And there was so many times it looked like that Pete Dunne was shaken up, and he get up and just charge right into Tyler and
he
just literally nail him.
Cut him off. I mean, it was great. You never knew where this match was going next.
Exactly.
It was a journey. It was emotional. It was everything we love about professional wrestling.
Right. These guys fired the best shots they had at them. And then, if I can quote HBK, I made one little mistake as Tyler Bate did that dive, and Pete Dunne caught him and put him into the crushing. What was that move called again? The crushing.
The bitter end. Bitter end,
yeah, for the win. So, I mean, I can pretty much say they wrestled pretty much a perfect match, firing their best shots at them. I don't know. I can't really say anything bad about this match at all.
Like I said, it's up there for me as a match of the year candidate. Folks, this match was that damn good. Like I said, at the end, glad you brought that up. All it took was a simple mistake from Tyler Bate diving out. Pete Dunne capitalizes, bitter end, new UK champion. I'm still on the first episode of the UK Championship special. Mike, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet, but I can't wait to see where they go with that. I like what I've seen so far from the first episode.
Quick question, actually.
Yes.
I've asked you this before. I can't remember what your answer is. Would you want to see the UK Championship be like a mid-card title for NXT?
Yes, but if they're going to go in the direction of a show, then I think that's the direction you go in. Either one, I'd be happy with. If you infuse the UK talent onto NXT, I think that'd be a positive. Or if you don't, either or I'd be happy with. But I'd probably see it on the show. The show is a success. Well, we'll see where that goes. But, either or I'd be happy. Good question. Good question. All right, let's move on. And we're going to talk about the NXT Women's Triple Threat match. Asuka versus Ruby Riot and Nikki Cross. Well, what I liked about this match was the fact that these women had a tough task to follow. They had to follow a match of the year candidate. And I have to say, while they weren't able to top it, and that was going to be very, very tough to do, I thought they went in there, had a very hard-hitting, physical, solid women's triple threat match that allowed for each woman to shine and go in there, whether it was Nikki Cross acting all crazy and psychotic and just bouncing around and just, you couldn't contain her. You never knew what she was going to do next. Ruby Riott, who I thought had a good showing, or Asuka, just the dominance of her. And, really, just a solid triple threat match. The crowd was invested in it. I was worried that it might be hurt from the fact that would the crowd be burned out due to the fact that the UK Championship match was so good. But no, They were invested throughout this match, and Ruby Riot, Nikki Cross, Asuka, they all went in there, told a good story. And once again, Asuka remains the undefeated, dominant women's champion. To me, and Mike mentioned this as well, the way that the finish of this match came about, it was a little bit weird. So Riot attempted to hit a fireman's carry head kick on Nikki Cross. She attempted to go for the pin. Asuka came off the ropes. She came a little bit slow there. Almost missed the 3 count. The ref went 1, 2. She had a Shining Wizard on Riot. And she actually pinned both Cross and Riot at the same time. So kind of an unexpected finish. But I thought it was to me, it was a solid women's triple threat match. Great effort by all involved. Like I said, everybody got the time to shine. And Asuka remains your women's champion. So, Mike, what were your thoughts on this women's triple threat match?
This was the match that I was a little bit worried about because, again, like you said, it took place right after the great UK Championship match. I mean, I thought this was going to be on the level that the Fatal 4-Way was at San Antonio, which that wasn't too bad, but it just felt like it was a little bit like a pushover match then before you get to something to do in between Asuka and Ember Moon. Where this, I thought was going to be the same thing, except I think it was better. I think it furthered the storyline also between Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott as well. These two with their crazy attitudes, trying to tear each other's heads off. They both meet up in a NXT Women's Championship title match against Asuka, and this could have gone either way. What makes it a problem is that you have those two trying to tear each other apart. They could have easily somehow thrown Asuka out of the picture and then just had a decisive pin come between the two of them, but it didn't, which shows that they still have unfinished business between these two as well. But yes, I mean, again, despite it falling up like a really tough match that, like you said, most of the time can burn out crowds. This match, although it was not this as good as the UK Championship match, it was still a great match to still bring you in and get you all excited. So I think the fact it did a good job.
Well, I like the fact, that you brought up that it keeps the issue between Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. You could still keep that going. And like you mentioned tonight, I'd like to see that in a stipulation match, perhaps maybe a street fight, an Extreme Rules match, maybe a cage match. That would make sense. You lock these two crazy people in the cage, and
you just tear each other apart. And also, make a quick note here, what was also good about this match is you saw a nice shot from up above of someone else who is waiting to get her hands on Asuka, because they did a great job at NXT TakeOver Orlando furthering this story to get more tension built there. And also, as I mentioned, to finally establish more of a heel character in Asuka.
It did. Asuka's become this just arrogant. Her ego's become so inflated due to the fact that it makes sense because she's been undefeated for this long, and who will be the one? And when that person does beat her, you know what? It's going to mean something. Why? Because in pro wrestling, I think wins and losses always should matter. You know, and on NXT, I feel like they do matter much more so than on the main roster. And that's just another reason why I enjoy NXT more so than what we get from the main roster product on a weekly basis.
Right.
It's the little things that go a long way. And like you said, Ember Moon showing that shot, thank you for bringing that up, of her watching from the stands, that little detail, to put that little kernel in your mind. Remember, hey, Ember's got unfinished business. And when she comes back, she's going to be full of piss and vinegar. She's going to be coming charging at Asuka and wants to get, that rematch, that she was unfairly cheated out of due to the fact that Asuka, remember, pushed the referee into the ropes, and that didn't allow Ember to hit, her finisher on Asuka and just screwed the whole thing up. So there's that little wrinkle that plays into the story as well. The little details that go a long way into the overall narrative. So I can't wait to see how they follow that up. And yeah, like you said, Mike, this was a solid women's triple threat match. Anything else you want to say about this before we move on to our championship match?
Nope, should be good on that.
Let's talk about the NXT Championship. Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. Good, solid. Again, it continues the theme of this show. Not a bad match on this show. Has there really ever been a bad match on a TakeOver? I can't tell you. But no, not really. Exactly. And this was a good match between Bobby Roode, Hideo Itami. Hard-hitting, physical from Hideo's end with the kicks and, the shots to the face. And he took it to the limit to Bobby Roode. And every time it looked like Hideo, when he was going to go for the GTS, Roode would slide out. And when he eventually did hit the GTS, of course, that led to a monstrous reaction from the Chicago crowd. I love the spot where Bobby Roode, he slid right out of the ring. And another thing that I liked about this match was the fact that Hideo Itami continuously worked over the shoulder of Bobby Roode throughout the match. So some good psychology, some good storytelling right there from Hideo. His kicks, they may not be as vicious as Nakamura's, but they still look like they hurt and make an impact. So, that Japanese strong style does come through. And like I was saying here, it took 3 glorious DDTs from Bobby Roode. He hit one earlier in the match. Hideo was able to kick out of that one. That shocked Bobby Roode. But like I mentioned, Hideo hit the GTS. Roode rolled out of the ring. And eventually, as Itami was trying to set up for the next, the second GTS, his leg gave out. Bobby hit, I believe, 2 glorious DDTs.
Yes.
And after that, 1, 2, 3. Bobby Roode retains his NXT Championship. Enjoyed this match. Mike, what did you think of this NXT Championship match?
Yeah, definitely. And also, this is actually the first time I believe I've ever seen Hideo Itami on pay-per-view, because the first NXT I ever watched was, I believe it was exactly 3 years ago today, 2 or 3 years ago today, NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, when Samoa Joe debuted. And that's right when Itami got hurt. So this was the first time I ever got to see Hideo Itami wrestle on a TakeOver pay-per-view, which I thought that was pretty cool to see. And the match against him and Bobby Roode was really nice to see as well. And I also liked about this match, what made it very improbable, that both competitors were hampered by injuries. Bobby with his shoulder, Hideo, his knee was bothering him a little bit. And
sure.
So it made you, usually when one person gets injured, you wonder, oh, is this person going to be able to take advantage of that? Or, oh, are they going to be able to fight through? Well, no, this time it was, they're both hurt. How are they both going to be able to pull this off? And, Bobby Roode was smart enough to pull off, he hit one glorious DDT, but he probably didn't get the best of it because of his shoulder injury. So the second time when he did this sequence of glorious DDTs, he had to do 2 of them. And Hideo Itami, for his second GTS he's going for, he actually took his knee brace off as well, so that way he can hit Bobby square in the kneecap instead of just the padding. So I really like the psychology of that as well. And I mean, I don't know if they're going to have another match going forward or not, or if Bobby's going to get a new #1 contender or not. So we'll see what happens when we get to Brooklyn in August.
That's true. We don't know what direction this is going to go in, and I like that. That creates some intrigue, some suspense, the word I'm looking for there. I thought it was a really good showing from Hideo. Like I said, he's come close to sniffing that NXT championship, but every time he seemed to get that far, he would suffer an injury, and then he would come back, and then he suffered another injury. So it was nice to see him get this opportunity. They could continue this program between him and Bobby Roode. I'd be down for that. So
yes,
I like it. We don't know what direction they're going to go in, but I'm intrigued to see what they do next and who the next potential challenger may be. So Bobby Roode continues to enjoy his glorious run as NXT.
Oh, and a very nice entrance as well. He had as usual.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that. They had an electronic piano displayed on the rampway. It was a SmackDown stage, so they had that playing, this lovely little melody, and then it went glorious, into his epic theme song. I will give in. Da, 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 da. You know how it goes. So thank you for pointing that out before we switch gears here, and we are ready to talk about a couple words that I want to choose to describe this match. Brutal.
Yes.
Physical.
Yes.
Hard-hitting, and it left us with an emotional ending. And that's everything that I want to get out of a pro wrestling match. That's everything that I love about pro wrestling.
And everything to get out of a main event. That's a main event, Vince. There's only one main event. And that
was the main event. You heard me right. We didn't end with the NXT Championship, which I was confused with at first. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then we found out that the NXT Tag Team Championship ladder match was going to main event. Authors of Pain versus D.I.Y. Story and the journey that was told from, from everything that D.I.Y. had done as a tag team to when they teamed up. They were entered into the Dusty Classic, went up and had tremendous matches against the Revival, some of the best tag team matches I've seen, and from their journey to continue. And they finally won the NXT Tag Team Championships in Toronto. Great moment right there. Feel-good moment to their awesome, amazing triple threat match between the Revival and the Authors of Pain. And then, they eventually lost their tag team titles to the Authors of Pain. And then we come full circle. We come to this point. It was going to be the Authors of Pain versus D.I.Y. in a ladder match. The stakes couldn't be higher, and these teams went balls to the walls, took high risks, scary spots in this match from just pure chaos, from ladders breaking in half to, I thought nearly Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa killed themselves when they dove onto Toka and Rezar, who laid out on double ladders.
Akam and Rezar, not Toka and Rezar.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the Teenage Mutant.
Oh my god.
Akam and Rezar. If you get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man, enjoy that reference. Thank you. That should be on Botchamania. But Akam and Rezar were laid out on ladders on the side. They were laid up against the laid out on ladders that were connected from the ring to the barricade. And then there was a ladder set up in between this. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa get up on the ladder. They both dive off onto Akam and Rezar. And the one ladder broke. For Ciampa, it was successful. Gargano, they both rolled off. And I thought for sure from that spot alone, somebody was going to die there or get seriously hurt.
He completely missed the ladder, it looked like.
He was a little bit off on that one, but
yeah,
that was a really great spot. And, the way that they utilized the ladders in this match was nice. It wasn't, excessive, but they built to the big spots, that were necessary to be told. And when one of the members of the Authors of Pain, Ciampa, got him up and power bombed him through the ladder that was stationed in the ring, in the corner of the ring, and it broke the ladder. Oh man, that was such a great spot. I went, holy shit. It was just wow. And just when it seemed like Gargano and Ciampa were going to grab those titles, they were hanging on by a thread, but it just simply, they couldn't come close enough. Authors of Pain, they get back up in it, and they hit the Super Collider on Gargano and Ciampa, lay them out, and climb up and pull down the belts. And wow. It was a great match. I loved it. Mike, your thoughts on everything in this match? And then we'll talk separately about the ending. I'm saving that for last.
Sure, yes. And I'll actually save one thing from this match also for the ending as well to discuss. But yes, this match told a great story. A ladder match, and the thing that gets you wondering, is this going to be a disadvantage for AOP? Because, D.I.Y. probably are better off like the high flying, using the ladders.
Smaller, agile.
Yeah. Plus also, the smaller ladders too, could they even support, AOP as well? I know those aren't going to break or anything like that. Little childish storytelling there, but that's just how it is. But yeah, there's so many spots in this match, and even like towards the ending where D.I.Y. like after Ciampa did that suplex through one of the AOP men through the ladder, and the time also where Johnny Gargano actually super kicked Paul Ellering as well.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, forgot to mention
that. That spiced it up even more, and that caused AOP to get really upset, which I will also save what happened after that until we talk about what happened at the end. But yeah, just great storytelling. And like I said back in Orlando, that match there really established AOP as the team to beat. This as well may look like, you can throw your best shots at AOP, but you can't stop them. Who can? Heavy Machinery, maybe. Who knows? Well, we'll see. I'd say later in the year, probably. But yes, another great match, a great main event for this pay-per-view.
Exactly. What, man, what a match. But that was not the end of the match. After Akam and Rezar left, they walked away with their championships. An emotional moment for Gargano and Ciampa. They left it all in the ring, as they always did, as D.I.Y. Gene, what's going on? Thanks for joining this live video review.
What's up, Gene?
But as the crowd was adulating them, giving them thanks, the respect they have earned from, just putting their bodies on the line. And they were the true best of friends. They loved one another, and it looked like they were going to walk up the ring, exit center stage, and fade to black. We thought that's how the show was going to go off the air, but
They even had the end card up as well.
We had the little graphic, and this was done. Whoever thought of that, you deserve a raise. Yes. And just as it looked like we were going to go off the air, Gargano snaps. He takes Ciampa snaps, and he throws Johnny Gargano into the stage. He lays him out with a series of vicious knees and shots to the head, beats him down. Gargano looks like he's getting back up. Ciampa pulls down his knee pad, hits him with a wicked running knee strike. And, we're stunned. Johnny's stunned, literally. He's laid out. Ciampa's just looking at him with the psycho killer eyes. And he looks over to the announcer's table, and you knew something serious was going to happen here. And he picks up Gargano for the Kryptonite Crunch. And instead of putting him on the announcer's table, he dives off the announcer's table through multiple tables. Ciampa stands tall. The crowd chants, "Fuck you, Ciampa." And they chant "asshole." So you know what that means? That means that you got actual heat. You're not the cool heel that people cheer. No, you're a heel. You want to get booed? That's how you do it. And that was a fucking phenomenal heel turn. I loved it. We knew it was going to come eventually. We knew something big was going to happen due to the fact that this was the main event, and I thought it was executed to a flaw. It was glorious. It was amazing. And now we're off to the races with a good Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa feud. Mike, your thoughts on this heel turn?
Excellently executed. I mean, here's the thing. Like, even leading up to this match, there never was any, tension, any arguing on any NXT shows between Gargano and Ciampa. You just saw that these two guys were just a close bond as friends. They were brothers. They were just everything to each other, pretty much. And the way this ended, this whole match, especially when the fact that it was the main event, I'm thinking something's got to happen. Like, we thought maybe either D.I.Y. was going to retain, or I don't know, a couple other possibilities we came up with. But
sure,
I felt that this, if anything, this was going to happen. And even before I saw this main event, I had a feeling that tonight was the night when that turn was going to happen. You knew it was coming sometime, and it happened. And, even so, they want to save for the talk about this, that one spot in the match where, Tommaso was getting beaten down after AOP saw that Paul Ellering had been super kicked. And, I'm thinking to myself, if the turn happens, it could be maybe Ciampa was upset about, Gargano, being the one who took out Ellering, and he took the beating for it. But no, Gargano literally pushed Ciampa out of the way and took the bullet for him with that ladder. That showed even stronger friendship, and that would made this turn even more heartbreaking.
Something.
Exactly, emotional. You saw how strong this bond was between these two, and Ciampa to actually just snap right there. And I've watched the replay several times. Right before he turned and slammed Johnny right into the stage, the last words I saw Ciampa say to Gargano was, "Good job." And then boom.
That's the thanks he gets.
Exactly. And like you said, this established heat on Gargano. This is not a guy who's going to be a heel that people are going to want to root for. This is a guy that you're making that people need to not like.
He's an asshole.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how you treat your friends? Give me a freaking break.
Right.
What a dick.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, again, there was no really much tension, on screen tease between these two. So it's why, we're not going to know the real explanation of why Ciampa turned on Johnny or anything like that. But I had something else I wanted to add to this. I completely slipped my mind. Oh, I remember this. These two, I mean, I could see them if they stuck their tag team, probably could have been going up to the main roster by now. But I think before any of these two go up to the main roster, these two need to have not just a match for the NXT title. No matter who's the champion, that's what needs to happen for one of these two move up to the main roster.
Yes. It's going to be a blood feud.
It is. I mean, their first match is definitely going to be at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. I'd say either, somehow find a way to get one of them, out of the way for, maybe one takeover or two before you get to that title match and then do it or something like that. But my goodness, the turn happened, and it felt huge. This is probably one of the biggest turns that has happened since
in a while.
Since Kevin Owens turned on Sami Zayn a couple years ago. This is probably it's that big of a turn.
Owens and Jericho's up there too. You can't forget that one.
That as well, yeah. I mean that one was a little more teased here and there, in my opinion on it.
Sure.
Like this one, we knew it was coming, but
you didn't know when.
There was not much tension teased between these two until now.
Not at all.
When it all just exploded.
Anything else, Mike, you want to say before we wrap things up here? Wow.
Nope. Other than, I gotta agree. Wow.
Now, it is decision time. The most important time of the review. We come to our grades, and now, easy grade for me, A+. Mike, what grade you giving this phenomenal show? I could have said that, in my sleep. A+ show. I
gotta agree. I mean, again, this show, the expectations for it wasn't as high as I probably felt it was, but there's a few things I didn't take into account at all, for Roderick Strong, the story of him being built up, the UK match, I thought was going to be good. I mean, I underestimated the women's title match a little bit, but, that exceeded expectations. I knew Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami would be good. And the tag championship match was great, and even adding that turn in there just exceeded big time. I gotta go with you, Dan. I'm giving it an A+ as well. Best show of the year so far. Way to go! Run.
This one went out of the park and delivered. If you haven't watched NXT TakeOver Chicago, what are you doing listening to us? Go watch it. I mean, let's go.
And just saying also, great job. Props to NXT as well, because like I said at the beginning of this review, they only had a month and a half to build for this. And they really knocked it out of the ballpark, like you said, Dan. So props to NXT, props to Triple H. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for putting on a great show. And I just want to say thank you all for watching this live video review. And before we go off the air here, Mike, you can get that plug in for your channel.
Yes, as always, you can find me on YouTube here at the Club of the Man 1993. You can follow me on Twitter at the Man Airboy 93. I just do anything I want to do, wrestling videos, video game let's plays, just whatever I like to do. So again, you can follow me at the Club of the Man 1993 on YouTube and the Man Airboy 93 on Twitter.
Sounds good. And before I go off the air here, real quick, put up my poll on Twitter. If you still want to go take that poll, go to twitter.com/DanielGaza412. Follow me on there. And as of now, this doesn't surprise you, 93% thumbs up, 7% thumbs down. So I think we're in agreement. This was a damn good show. So with that, guys, thank you for watching. Remember to click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel, youtube.com/DanielGaza. And remember, tomorrow I will be back up here with my live WWE Backlash 2017 review. I will be joined by special guest BSP Wrestling Show, my good friend Gene. It'll be great to have him back on this channel. Been a while since we did a video collab. So, yeah, just great to do some live videos once again. And it was great to come up here and share our thoughts on NXT TakeOver. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching this review. And I will see you guys tomorrow night for my Backlash review. Till then, take care and have a great night.